In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use the camera texture to make stuff like this. I'll also show you how to use lookup tables to create color changing filters. So for example, this one and this one. We'll also learn how to change the background behind the person and tap to change to go to a different background. And also how to change skin and hair color. So let's do it. So as usual, start with the sharing effect. So first thing we do is create a rectangle, and then to make it the full width and full height, over here you click and then full width and click the height part and full height. If those things don't come up, all you have to do is change this from fixed to relative and put it to 100. So this will be the percentage. So for example, if I change this to 50, it will be 50% on the width. Then from here, we're going to need the camera texture. So click camera and then texture extraction, and you'll see it says camera texture that came down here. All this is as we'll see, is whatever the camera is seeing at the moment. So click the rectangle, make a new material, change it to flat, and then set this texture as camera texture. So you can see down here, it's just got a square with my face on it. So you can see by moving it around, that's what the camera texture is. So you can see as well how you can just put multiple of these. For example, I'll change this to 50-50 first, and then duplicate it, and then move these around. And you may have seen some filters like this. If you want, you could have made another material and changed the color. You could have 4 different colors. For example, like this. So you can set 4 different ones if you want. Yeah, you can have fun with that already. But for this tutorial, I'll just so I'll go back to just setting this back to 100. And so I'll also show you guys how to do one of those color changing filters. So let's say you have another full rectangle camera texture ready. So from here, go to your AR library and search LUT. Oh no, down here you see LUTs. And then choose one of these that you think looks good. So let's go LUT, import. Then for the material of this rectangle, double click in here and link this texture. Then drag this LUT one from down here over to the patch editor, and then drag this one out. And you're going to also need, because at the top here it says it needs a texture, so drag the camera texture down and link it here. So now you can see it's got the color effect. So you can have a play with more of these. Let's say I wanted another one. So if you want to change from your current one, import it again, drag this one in. You can just delete this new color LUT shader thing and drag this to the color LUT. So that's the second one. So there is a way, so you'll notice as well, when you click down in here, all these LUTs is just a long image to tell the computer which colors to change. So you can make your own ones of these. I'll put a link in the description to some tutorials on how to do that through Photoshop. So the way it works is you start with the default one, and then you add different effects like brightness or hue saturation and stuff within Photoshop, and then export this little image down the bottom and bring it back in the software, and it will apply to whatever texture you give. Now what we're going to need for the background is we need another rectangle. So the fastest way to do this, because we've already set this to 100, we can just duplicate that one, and let's say on the one that's above, we'll create a new material and set it to flat. And what I'll do, I'll give you guys again a link in the description to a folder that'll have some images in there. So it'll be V5 Sig. Open star background, and you can't see it because the other one is in front, so that's the one behind. So what we have to do to cut out the person here, we have to get an alpha also from the camera. So click the camera again and you'll see segmentation. So plus this and we'll do person. So then we can use that one on the front rectangle as the alpha. So tick alpha and choose segmentation mask. There you go. So it's cut me out. What you can do as well, because you can see it down here, the segmentation mask, you can play with these values. So edge softness is like whether it's blurred or whether it's just straight line. Mask size, you'll see, is how far away from the person you want it. So now I'll show you a way that you could, when people tap the screen, it will change the background. So first thing we'll do, with the top rectangle selected, the one with your background on it, go into the material and this texture here, click the arrow. Then what you want to do is, from the same folder again, bring in this clouds one. And you want to drag both these clouds and the star background down. So what this does is, for example, if I drag the clouds to the texture, it will change to the clouds one. And the star one will change to the stars. So what we have to do for this is because we want when we tap the screen, we have to add a screen tap patch. Then we're going to drag this to a counter. And then from the counter, we're going to go to option picker. Then because we only have 2 options, so just turn this into a 2. And change this option picker down here to texture. Now we want these top 2 to be these 2. So drag this in and drag this in. And drag this over here. Now you'll be able to click over here only if you change this to simulate touch. So now when I tap, it changes between them. And as well, if you want to bring in more textures, you can just do the same way. So drag another one in here, connect it to the third one, and change this one to 3. And then it will work for 3 textures. So first thing we've used is person segmentation. You can see down here, if you click segmentation mark texture, the type is person. So if you change to hair, it only shows my hair. If you change to skin, it'll only show my skin. I think my handle should work as well. So we'll put it back to person, and at the camera, I'll create a new texture. So segmentation plus, and we'll do, let's go skin. So then it's going to show you this error. Just remove unsupported platforms. It's just saying that this can only work on Instagram. Then what I'll do is I'll Control C, Control V, the one that has the person on it. And then this material, I'll change the alpha to be the new segmentation mask one, this bottom one. I'll just rename these so it's less confusing. Person, and here skin. Now, so this one, I'll just hide. So this one is just showing the skin. If I was to hide this one, you would just see that it's only my skin. So what we can do with that is when you go into the material and change the color, you can change the color of the skin. So some uses I've seen for this is, for example, when someone either like eats a spicy food in the filter, or it goes red, or to show that they're getting angry. Green for aliens. Yeah, you can just play around with it. And you can do the same thing for here. So I'll do it again, Control C, Control V. Click the camera to make another segmentation for here. I'll change its name. In the new layer, I will go in and change the alpha to here. And then my hair changes color a bit. You can also play with some of these blend modes, because my hair is pretty dark, you can't really see, so you can play around. Some will be more obvious than others. So for example, screen looks better with darker hair. You can play with opacity and stuff as well. So another thing you can do, at the moment we're using the camera texture with the alpha so that it just shows my actual hair, but you could change this to anything. So I'll change this back to white, and I'll put it as, let's say, the star background. then you'll see my hair becomes like a window to the star background. I could change it to, for example, a hair texture. You could have some fun with that. Maybe I would set the person one to the stars. You can have some fun. Just use it as a sort of like an invisibility cloak to see through.